Number 2 Sunset versus number 7 Beaverton for all the marbles in the Metro League. After a wild first half, this game was tied 7-7 at recess. Now third quarter and off the bounce. Sunset's Cam Cleaton picks up the pigskin and runs through traffic. 2 Beaverton guys bumped heads and then another guy got a hand on Cleaton, but he was gone. 90 yards on the run by Cleaton, 14-7 Sunset. The Beavers hit a field goal to cut it to 14-10. And then in the fourth quarter, Sunset's Courtney Macon tossed it up, and Beaverton's Jesse Basil grabs the ball and just ran over that kid, but toughly Beckley saved the touchdown. But on the very next play is Jimmy Wadsworth carrying 2 guys with him as the Beaverton Beavers grabbed a 17-14 lead. But Sunset's Courtney Macon would not be to go tonight. Macon made up for that fumble. He took the pitch and ran like Crazy Legs Hirsch. That's Elroy Crazy Legs Hirsch. Sunset wins the Metro, beating Beaverton 21-17. In Portland, Franklin laid a shocker on Benson. Benson needed this game to stay in a first-place tie with Wilson, but Franklin's Derek Brain made it 20-12 Franklin, and this put the gravy over the grits. Gerard Mock caught it, and he's gone. This made the final Franklin 27, Benson 12. On top of that, Benson lost its starting quarterback. A thriller up in Kelso. The mighty Highlanders took on third-ranked Tumwater. First quarter in Tumwater's J.D. Cowan broke loose from 3 Kelso defenders, and J.D.'s gone. It's a 52-yard jolt that put Tumwater up 7-0. But undefeated Kelso's defense kept them in this baby. Pat Bailey rips it loose, and Kelso's Rob Wheeler picks it up, and it's just later on, baby. Hares will hug hounds before they catch Wheeler. This is a 93-yard fumble return as Kelso cuts mighty Tumwater's lead to 14-7. But these Tumwater guys are tough hombres. They had a 24-7 lead, but here comes stubborn Kelso. Ty Fotheringale cut that lead at 24-22 in the fourth. Now Kelso is shaking bacon for the lead, but Kelso's last chance ended when Tumwater intercepted. Jesse Lambert picked it. Tumwater over Kelso, 24-22. Now a friend of ours and one of the best rhythm and blues singers in the world, Linda Hornbuckle and the No Delay Band helps us check out the rest of the Little Daddies. So debonair Dennis Decay, a little traveling music, please.
No good man, get away from my dog. Don't want you no more, don't want you around the dog. And I'm gonna tell everybody, you can't wag your tail around here no more. I remember you way up there, baby. I can see through all that I am. Saw you hanging way up there. I can see through that. In my heart, you ain't cool, no.
Follows home to take on 7th-ranked Beaverton. What a fierce game this was. First place in the Metro on the line. And Beaverton quarterback Max Brown goes long to Tony Hendricks. He's got the grab, 42-yard touchdown. Beaverton on top 7-0, and they were pumping up the visiting fans. But watch this play. Cameron Clayton gets the ball. It's a punt, and he takes it on his own 6. Finds some running room, and he is gone. He'll take it 94 yards to pay dirt. One of the reasons why Sunset's ranked 2nd in the state. Then Courtney Macon seals the victory with this touchdown. He ran for over 100 yards in the night. Sunset wins it 21-17. Tualatin was at Lake Oswego tonight, and quarterback Ryan Sherman is looking long for Ryan Schoen. And he makes the catch for the touchdown, and Tualatin went on to win it easily. The final there, 18-0. And at the stadium, Benson took on Franklin in the PIL. The Quakers fired up. Quarterback Matt Geske goes long to Sean Lindsay, makes the grab. He's down at the 1-yard line, doesn't get in, but Derek Brame does. Benson suffers its first loss. Franklin's a winner, 27-12. Running down the rest of the scores in prep ball, Madison beat Grant, Wilson buried Jefferson, Tigard lost badly to Aloha, McMinnville fell to Forest Grove, Hillsborough beat Newburgh, Jesuit over Glencoe, Barlow won easily, Centennial ripped Parkrose, Central Catholic fell to Sandy, and Gresham nipped David Douglas on a last-second field goal. Lakeridge by 20 over Clackamas, Canby pounded Putnam, Milwaukee trimmed West Lynn, Lebanon hammered North Salem.
Studios in Portland, Oregon. It's Sports Extra. Tonight, the Metro League title on the line. Tumwater and Kelso in a Washington barn burner, and a collision course is set for next week's PIL title. Good evening, everybody. I'm Bill Schonley. And a reminder, you've got to make your field goals. And now, ladies and gentlemen, here's Lou Gellos.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Happy Halloween. We've disguised our show, and there's no monologue because we have Sports Extra highlights for you and some upsets. But first, let's say hello to Chad and the band. Chad, welcome, everybody. Okay. Well, let's get things underway with was a very big battle that could decide the Metro title tonight. Number 7, Beaverton, who suffered its first loss last week, was at number 2 and undefeated Sunset. This was a back-and-forth game all night. The Beavers struck first late in the first half. This 25-yard touchdown pass from Max Brown to Tony Hendricks. They led 7-0. Sunset eventually tied the game, though, at 7, and then came this. The Apollo's Cameron Clayton took the Beaverton punt, and he scooted up and down the sidelines through the defense, scooted his way past all the white jerseys, 85 yards for the score, and Sunset led 14-7. Then in the fourth period, Sunset fumbled. Beaverton recovered, and they took it all the way to the Apollo 4-yard line and scored on the very next play to grab a 17-14 lead. But Sunset scored last on this 17-yard run from Courtney Macon. Coach Tom Linehan and the Apollos remain undefeated with a 21-17 win. So the Metro League scores look like this. Sunset over number 7 Beaverton. Aloha winning its first game of the year, shutting out Tigard. Forest Grove over McMinnville. Hillsboro beat Newburgh, and Jesuit over Glencoe 35-20. Some pretty good scores there, I'd say.
Good job, young fella.
Well, thank you very much.
You're keeping me up late, I know that.
Well, glad to have you here. Glad to have you. It's time to introduce our first guest, though, Bill. You know him as the guy who covers Southwest Washington for us all the time. Please say hello to Ron Carlson. Ron.
All right, Ron.
Bill? How are you? Nice to see you.
Nice to see you.
Bill?
All right, nice to see you. So, Ron, you didn't want to get dressed up for us tonight?
Well, you know, running around the sidelines and stuff. You guys are just back here kind of goofing around in the studio. You know, we got to dress up for these games. You know, and I wanted to say
the ultimate goof around, believe me.
It is. You know, we've already lasted longer than Chevy Chase.
That's very true.
That's one good thing for us.
Good line.
Hey,
Good
thank you.
line.
And I enjoy your insurance commercials, too. Keep
Thank
up the
you
good
very
work.
much.
Yeah,
I
all right, let's
appreciate
talk
that.
about Southwest Washington. Get right to it, okay? The biggest crowd in Kelso High School history at Schroeder Field tonight. An estimated 8,000 fans showing up to watch 6th-ranked Kelso host 3rd-ranked Tumwater. Before the game, Kelso head coach Ed Lawlanen invited us into the locker room for his pregame talk.
Clyde Drexler's contract squabble isn't the biggest sports news in the land of the Big K this week. In Kelso, Washington, where they even name restaurants after the high school mascot, the big news is tonight's high school football game.
Also, the Greater St. Helens AAA Championship is on the line as the undefeated and 3rd-ranked Tumwater T-Birds swoop into Kelso to play the undefeated and 6th-ranked Highlanders.
The Kelso-Tumwater game has become...
That was going to happen up there in Kelso tonight, and it did happen. And hopefully we'll get a chance to see that game because it was a great one. Do you want to go to something else first and come back to it?
Yeah, maybe we should go to a commercial. Should we do that, Johnny? Should we go to a commercial first and then have time to set up... Okay.
Oh, the band. Let's hear the band.
Well, we'll hear them as we go to break. We'll get our tapes in order and be right back with more Sports Extra after this.
You can go now, young man. I think everything's all right.
Those
I
guys
will
are
try it
good.
again.
get to it.
Let's give it another shot, okay? As we said, 6th-ranked Kelso hosting 3rd-ranked Tumwater tonight. Before the game, Kelso head coach Ed Lalanen invited us into the locker room for his pregame talk. Take it, Coach.
Hard, and you're going to be fine. We're going to have a lot of fun tonight, okay?
Here's the first scoring play of the game right here, though. That's Tumwater getting away for an early touchdown. Tumwater up 14-0 after 1. They're threatening again on the Kelso 9, but the ball is knocked loose, and there's Kelso's Rob Wheeler. He's off like a kid with Dad's new Corvette. A 91-yard score. Kelso within 7 after he gets in there at the half. But when Tumwater adds a field goal, and then this upcoming Doyle to Cowan TD pass in the 3rd, this game looks over. But like Mom always said, looks aren't everything. 4th quarter. It's the Highlander reverse coming up right here, and Mom's going to love this. That's Jeff Davis, a 31-yard score. The Highlanders are within 9. It's 24-15 after Jeff gets into the end zone. Then 6 minutes to go. Ty Fotheringill looks trapped, but he pulls off another Houdini, a 4-yard score. Kelso within 2, but that's how it ends. Tumwater clinching the Greater St. Helens League title with a 24-22 win over Kelso tonight. Elsewhere around the Greater St. Helens battleground, losing big time to Mountain View. Columbia River shutting out Fort Vancouver. On the Baywatch, the win goes to Evergreen. The Lumberjacks chop down the Papermakers tonight. And Washougal losing to Mark Morris. That means the Monarchs clinched the AA title in the Greater St. Helens League. And a couple of Trico scores for you. Castle Rock, the Rockets, beating the Spudders tonight, 26-14. And ouch, Stevenson big time over La Center. That score is accurate, 71-20. So sorry to take up so much airtime. Just wanted to show a little of downtown Kelso there a little earlier.
Well, let's see if we can catch up now to get back on time. We'll move on to the PIL. Both undefeated PIL teams in action tonight, looking to stay unbeaten for their matchup next week. Wilson was at Jefferson, and that's Jason Eilertson up the middle. He took it all the way for the score to make it 14-0, and it was 21-0 after the play coming up. You won't believe this, a long pass from Jamie Thorpe. Mispronounced his name last week, but we know the Wilson High quarterback is Jamie Thorpe to Tyler Elliott, and Wilson crushed Jefferson. The final score 35-0. So that meant Benson looked to keep pace, taking on Franklin at the stadium, and they looked good after this 20-yard run to the goal line by Patrick Johnson. They scored on the next play to pull within 2, 14-12, but Franklin had it going tonight. Watch the trickery. The reverse fooled the Techmen. 55 yards to the Benson 24-yard line, and then on the very next play, Matt Geske hit Jared Mock for the touchdown. That made it 27-12, and that was the final as Franklin upset Benson. The showdown set for next week. So Wilson defeating Jefferson 35-0. Benson losing its first game of the year. Benson and Wilson play next week. Madison beat Grant 20-12, and 2 games tomorrow on the PIL schedule. As you see there, Lincoln Marshall, and the other one there was Roosevelt and Cleveland. Well, we always cover the Valley League, and we move down to see Jerry Murphy there. So why don't we welcome our reporter from the Valley, Jerry Murphy.
There's Jerry. All right, Jerry. Yes, sir. Nice to have you with us.
Hey, I just rolled in all the way from the Valley League, and boy, are my wheels tired. Yes, well, the Lebanon Warriors are about as funny as my jokes. They're not funny at all. They're just the best team in the Valley. Tonight, the 5th-ranked Warriors clinched the undisputed Valley League title. The Vikings got off to a great start on their first possession. David Tebow, he's had a great season. Here's a great run, 23 yards to the Lebanon 14. And it's Tebow capping off the 65-yard drive with a 2-yard scoring punch. North Salem led 8-0. That only riled up Lebanon. They rip it down the field, scoring on every possession of the first half. Ned Stearns taking the option pitch for 15, and that sets up this touchdown by Dale Butterworth right through the heart of the North Salem defense. Lebanon batters the Vikings 51-14. The Warriors are Valley League champs at 8-0. The bell tolled at McKay tonight. It tolled for Crescent Valley. The Royal Scots routed the Raiders. Ardell Bailey battered Crescent Valley for 141 yards, 24 of those on this carry down to the Raiders' 7. And Bailey finishes the job, punching it across from 1 yard out. That made it 33-14 McKay. Bailey scored 3 touchdowns to go with those 141 yards. This time it's a 5-yarder. And the Royal Scots roll 39-14. McKay is 6-2 for the season. And now for the Valley scoreboard. There's the Lebanon score coming up once again, 51-14. 51-14 should read that final. McKay over Crescent Valley, 39-14. South Albany beaten badly by Sprague, 54-14. South Salem 24, Corvallis 6, McNary 28. West Albany 8. And to the Southern League, number 1 ranked Ashland 42, Klamath 6, number 6 Grants Pass 21-6 over Crater, 21-0 over Crater rather. North Medford 35, South Medford 14, Eagle Point 29, Mazama 24. Lebanon on top of the valley at 8-0. 3 teams tied for second place. McKay, McNary, and Sprague all at 6-2. Lou?
Okay, Jerry. Jerry Murphy from down in the valley there. Thank you, Jerry.
Nice job, Jerry.
All right. You know, I think we should do the news this way, where there's an audience clapping all the time after every story. There are more stories to come, too. When we come back, we'll check out the other scores. Three Rivers League Play 2 when Sports Extra continues on Halloween.
Yes, yes.
Right now, we're seeing a lot of it.
And we're back. There they are. Okay, let's get right on to things here. Before we get on to things, we've got to acknowledge the band, Chad and Quintessential. Chad, thanks for coming with us tonight. Why don't you introduce the members of the group over there?
On bass, we have Ben Landsberg. On drums, we have Chris Brown. On piano, we have Jason Taborek.
And he's Chad Hollingsworth, the leader of Quintessential from Wilson High School. Thanks, guys. Very good. Okay, Three Rivers League action tonight. Tualatin at Lake Oswego still looking to get back into that top 10, and they made their case. Ryan Sherman with the 2-yard touchdown pass to Jim Kraft. This made it 6-0. Tualatin, they had the lead. And later, Sherman again, this time a 67-yard scoring pass to Ryan Schown, I think is how you say it, and that made it 18-0, and that turned out to be the final as well, as Tualatin shut out Lake Oswego. Three Rivers scores look like this. Lakeridge beat Clackamas, Canby over Putnam, and Milwaukee beat West Lynn 9-7. Game of the night in the Mount Hood League had Gresham at David Douglas as the Gophers looked to stay undefeated in league play. In the second quarter, Gresham's Mike Streb hit Brian Betancourt for a 29-yard touchdown to tie the game at 7. But the Scots took the lead in the third when Brian Alderton danced down the line and pitched to Edmund Liu, who took it to the goal line. And that set up a score to make it 14-7. First play of the fourth quarter, the Gophers tied it at 14 after Kerry Lee spun and muscled his way in for the 8-yard touchdown. But with just 22 seconds left, Gresham's Kevin Majors drilled a 22-yard game-winning field goal to set up the big match with Centennial next week. And as Bill likes to say, you've got to make your field goals, and he did. Gresham over David Douglas 17-14. Centennial rolled over Park Rose. Barlow beat Reynolds, and Sandy over Central Catholic. Other scores in the Midwest: Willamette beat Sheldon. North Eugene shocked 10th-ranked Marshfield. Churchill beat North Bend. Thurston won. That score is correct. I don't know who came on for the save in the 9th inning. Other scores: number 1 St. Paul, 37 wins in a row in league play. They're 1 away from the state record, which they can get next week. Silverton won. So did Warrenton over Neocani. Number 9 the Dows beat 5th-ranked Sherwood in Tri-Valley League's title game. Cascade over Malala, and Bend beat Redmond 27-26. And believe it or not, we have wrapped it up. We have done everything we need to do tonight. I'd like to thank my guests, Jerry Murphy, down in the Valley League. We appreciate Jerry for being here tonight. Thank you, Jerry, for being here. And as always, my cohort and sidekick, Bill Schonley, for coming in tonight. Thank you, Bill.
Oh, you're welcome.
You can clap
You're
for him, yes.
Thank you.
And Ron Carlson, all the fans from Wilson who filled up the studio audience, and our band from Wilson High School, Quintessential. Good night, everybody. See you next week.
According to victories, upsets, Sunset and Wilson both bit the dust. Metro League champ and number 6 Sunset had a handful with Sprague. Sprague's Kevin Emerson outraces Steve Anderson to the end line, 7-0 Sprague, and that set the tone for the game. Sunset's big play offense responded. Lee Beckley spots his favorite target, Cam Cleaton, who made an amazing catch to tie it at 7, but it wasn't Sunset's night. Sprague pulls off the upset, winning 22-16. Now we go to Wilson. Glencoe blew out to a 27-0 lead at halftime and put it away in the third. Glencoe quarterback Marcus Glaze is back to pass, but no. Glaze takes off on a 20-yard scamper to set this up. Tommy Ayala touchdown, so after upsetting Sunset to end the regular season, Glencoe sends PIL champ and number 8 Wilson packing, 34-14 the final. On the east side, number 2 Centennial had a tough test with Roseburg in the house, but Centennial responded. Victor Hampton runs like Rodney Hampton, 60 yards for the touchdown. Hampton ran wild, 16-8 Centennial in the third. The Eagles have playoff fever. Then Hampton takes the pitch and waltzes 7 yards for another score. Centennial over Roseburg, 37-24, so Centennial moves on. We stay on the east side for Gresham and Crook County. Gophers quarterback Mike Streb with the keeper here. That made it 14-0 Gresham. This game had the Gophers name on it. Then watch Kerry Lee take the handoff, get a great block and take off. The Cowboys couldn't round him up, and Lee cruised 38 yards for another score. Gresham takes care of Crook County, 47-20. Another team from down south, the North Medford Black Tornado, rode into River City and took care of Franklin. Kerry Curtis takes the pitch. Look at the blocking. Touchdown Tornado, 7-zip North Medford early. Then Colin O'Neill sells the pitch and hits a wide open Jeff Costanzo. North Medford over Franklin, 27-0. Now here's a roundup of all the scores from across the state. South Eugene gets past McKay, so South will face Glencoe in round 2. Lake Ridge and Centennial will meet next week. That should be a good one. Tualatin over McNary and Pendleton bucks Marshall. Over on the coast, Beaverton beats the defending champs, and Ashland buries Sandy. It'll be Beaverton versus Ashland in round 2. Grants Pass and Lebanon both win big to advance. So do Gresham and Canby. They'll play a rematch of the game earlier in the season. North Medford with the shutout, and Willamette gets past Lake Oswego. David Douglas wins on the road at Bend, and Sprague pulls the upset of the night, beating Sunset. Another upset across the river, Lakes over Kelso by a count of 29-27. Okay, number 1 Central Catholic in black against Westland in the state volleyball semis. It's tied at 2 in the third game. Then Central's Jill Bramman with the monster spike for the score, and Central never looked back. Speaking of monster spikes, Emily Seacat almost knocked all the air out of the ball on the serve breaker, and the crowd knew it was curtains, and this did it. Westland sends it into the net. Central Catholic over Westland, 7-15, 15-11, and 15-5. So number 1 Central Catholic will go for the title tomorrow night against defending champ Barlow. Barlow beat Gresham 3-3 in the early semi. Final high international drama in Orlando.
And good evening, everybody. Thanks for staying with us for sports.
History really doesn't play a big part.
Playoffs begin tonight, and we'll start our coverage tonight with second-ranked Centennial. They hosted an always tough Roseburg team. The score knotted at 8 at the half, but Centennial broke the tie early in the third quarter when Vic Hampton took the pitch, danced down the sidelines, 59 yards for the score for the Centennial Eagles. Later, Centennial again. This time, Jesse Brand swept left, cut back to the middle, and he too was gone. Another long gainer, 62 yards for the score, and a 30-8 Centennial advantage in this one. Roseburg has always been tough in state tournament play, but Centennial was just too much tonight. Brand found Micah Dennis open deep, a 32-yard touchdown. That gave the Eagles a 37-24 victory. Normally we send Ron Carlson up north, but there aren't many games up north in our area at least. So Ron Carlson, we picked a pretty good game for you since it wound up being a 2-point contest, eh?
Yeah, a lot of high energy going on where I went tonight, Lou. First of all, talking with the officials before the Pacers-Crusaders matchup tonight, they were all expecting to get lots of exercise trying to keep up with these two high energy offenses, and they got it. The Crusaders scoring on the very first play of the ball game. Pacers QB John Crosswhite to pass. That's Jesuits' Jeremy Concannon with the pickoff special, a 14-yard score, 7-0 Jesuit, just like that. The Crusaders got it done on offense, too. Mike Doherty to Mike Henry, and that sets up another score. Jesuit leads it 14-0. But the Pacers, like unwanted guests tonight, they just won't go away. Brandon Reynolds takes the following kickoff on the 6, and this bus is on a non-stop route to the end zone. A 94-yard kickoff return. The Pacers get within 8 after Reynolds runs it in there. Reynolds with a big night on the ground. 20 yards coming up here on this run that comes up just short of the goal line. But that's the kind of night it was for Lake Ridge. They come up just short. Jesuit moving on with a 30-28 win over the Pacers. Now, at the start of this season, Wilson head coach Larry Keck said this would be his last go-around. His Trojans responded with a perfect 9-0 year, and tonight they wanted to keep Coach Keck's last year lasting a little bit longer. Keck hoping this would be another night of Trojan domination, but his hopes don't last long. Glencoe busting out to a big lead. By the time Tommy Amaya runs it in from the 7, it's 34-0 Crimson Tide. Still, look at this, a standing ovation coming up from the Wilson fans. After 40 years of coaching, Larry Keck says goodbye with a 34-14 loss to the Glencoe Crimson Tide.
Well, it's been a real tremendous career as far as I'm concerned. All the great people. It's not over. I'm still going to be a football fan now for the rest of my life.
Okay, great. Thanks. Well, from all the players who played for you and all the people associated with you, Coach Keck, thanks for all that you've done for football in this area. And we do have one Southwest Washington score for you tonight, Lou. Kelso going up to Lakes, and they lose another close ball game. Lakes 29, Kelso 27, so the Highlanders out for this season.
So you had a couple of games that were two-point contests there, the Kelso one and that one. Well, we sent Jerry Murphy to another contest. I know he's coming up right behind you. I'll stay this way. There he is in Corvallis, of all places, and Jerry gets a one-point ball game tonight.
Lou, a one-point ball game, and I'll tell you, the folks at McKay must be starting to wonder if there is a jinx against their Scots. Another very disappointing end to another very good season for the McKay Scots. At McKay tonight, it was North Eugene, the number 3 team from the Midwestern League. At McKay, the number 2 team from the Valley, both teams at 7-2 coming in. This is McKay head coach Ron August trying to lead his Scots to their first ever playoff win. And on the second play of the game, McKay strikes for 6. Peter Kunze up the middle for 45 yards and a touchdown. McKay 7-0 over South Eugene. And McKay gets it right back. An ill-advised pass by the Axemen, and Adam Jones picks it off. The return sets up another touchdown and a 21-0 lead for the Scots. But the lead won't last. McKay blew too many chances and made too many mistakes. On this play, the Scots were ready to score, but South Eugene's Rick Jackius picks it off and goes 92 yards for the touchdown. Yet another first-round loss for McKay, 35-34. Lou, McKay High School opened up in 1979. This makes 5 playoff appearances for the Scots, and they have lost in the first round all 5 times.
Okay, Jerry, we'll be visiting with you in just a moment as we return to Corvallis for more of the games you covered. Let's review the scores that we just had for you now in that first bracket of the 4A playoffs. South Eugene winning with that score with 20 seconds to go to defeat McKay by 1. 8th-rated Wilson ousted by Glencoe 34-14. Jesuit beat Lake Ridge by 2, as we showed you. And to top it off, number 2 Centennial, as we began our program, defeating Roseburg 37-24. So the brackets look like this for the playoffs. South Eugene will now face Glencoe the next go-round, and Jesuit will face Centennial in the next round next week. And when we come back, we'll continue down the brackets, continue with our 4A coverage of high school playoff football on Sports Extra after this. It was not even a 4A team. In fact, they played an independent schedule in the school's first year of existence. This year, they spent time in the top 10, and tonight played in their first playoff game ever. But hosting McNary, they fell behind early. A 36-yard field goal by Eric Norton gave visiting McNary a 3-0 lead. Second quarter, here's Darrell Shepard from 4 yards out, 10-0 at halftime for McNary. But Tualatin came back. Yes, they did. They came back in the second half to score 2 touchdowns. Their star player, Dustin Staley, here for 27 yards, setting up a score, and the T-Wolves pulled it out to win 14-10. So in the second playoff bracket, Tualatin defeating McNary 14-10. Pendleton beat Marshall 35-21. 10th rated Beaverton back on the winning track, stopping last year's state champion Marshfield 35-21. And top-ranked Ashland continues to roll. They eliminated Sandy. So the second bracket looks like this. Tualatin advances and will tackle Pendleton next. Beaverton has a tough task in taking on Ashland next week. The upset of the night may have been at Sunset, where the Apollos hosted the Valley's Sprague High School. Sunset looked good late. Lee Beckley with the perfect long pass to Jonathan Honnold here, who made the fingertip catch and took it in for the score. The Sunset Apollos led 16-14 in the third quarter. But Sprague rallied. Yes, they did. Adam Tang with the big gain up the middle here. That kept the offense going for Sprague, and later Tang again finishing the drive with this run. A two-point conversion made it 22-16 Sprague, and that was the final as Sprague upset the 6th-ranked Apollos in first-round playoff action. At Civic Stadium tonight, another PIL team did not fare too well. Franklin, only one loss this year, 8-1, took on Medford, which had lost 3 times, but it was all Black Tornadoes. Josh Meter started the scoring with a 3-yard run, 7-0 North Medford. Later, Colin O'Neill with the 15-yard pass to a wide-open Jeff Costanzo, 14-0 North Medford, and they went on to spank Franklin 27-0. So scores look like this. 7th-rated North Medford advances. Number 3 Willamette in a squeaker over Lake Oswego, 27-22. David Douglas dumped Bend, 35-28. And there's the Sprague upset of 6th-rated Sunset, 22-16. So the brackets look like this. North Medford will now face Willamette. Willamette's only loss this year is to top-ranked Ashland. And David Douglas moves on and will face Sprague. We're not done yet. There's still more here on Sports Extra. We'll go back and visit Jerry again, check the 3A game that happened tonight that we have highlights of, and have the rest of the scores and brackets for you after this. 3A playoff games take place tomorrow, but there was one that we couldn't ignore tonight, and Jerry Murphy made the rounds in Corvallis, and he hit that one too. Jerry?
Lou, it really cooled off here in Corvallis tonight, but the football warmed up. Just a tremendous Class 3A game. Philomath and Cascade, both those teams with just one loss coming in. After Cascade took a 6-0 lead, Philomath fired back. Eric Remington tosses 8 yards to Ryan Ciani, and the game was tied at 6 at halftime. Philomath led 12-6 when Cascade hits it big. Benji Hammond to Alex Fitzler, some great downfield blocking, and the Cougars took a 13-12 lead. Cascade led 21-18 in the final moments, but Philomath comes back to win it. 5 yards for Will Williams, and a 24-21 win for the Philomath Warriors. And again, most of that 3A playoff action gets underway tomorrow. You talk about action. Lebanon and North Eugene here at Parker Stadium, big-time action in that game. Those two teams combined for 84 points. North Eugene drove the ball on its very first possession. 4th down from the Lebanon 12-yard line. Richard Newell on the keeper, and the Highlanders led 7-0. But that was it for North Eugene in the first half. They could not stop the Warriors. They scored on their first 5 possessions. This is Dale Butterworth up the middle and past everybody, 67 yards, and Lebanon led 16-7. On the Warriors' next possession, 3rd down at their own 24-yard line. J.D. Jackson flings it. Chad Wolf clings it, and Wolf wings it for a 76-yard touchdown. Lebanon is now 10-0 and into the round of 16 after a 52-32 shootout with North Eugene. And Lou, in that first half, Lebanon ran off only 12 offensive plays. They piled up 269 yards. That is tremendous output. Lou?
You've been saying it all season. We have to keep our eye on Lebanon, and I think they proved it tonight. Thanks, Jerry. See you next week. Mount Hood runner-ups Gresham hosted the Intermountain 3rd-place team Cook County from Prineville tonight, and Gresham came through big. Early in the first, Ryan Gleason burst through the line for a 37-yard score. That made it 7-0 Gophers early in the contest. Still the first quarter, Gresham on the drive again. Mike Streb capped it with a 5-yard run to make it 14-0. In the second now, Kerry Lee on the twisting touchdown run, and Gresham rolled over Crook County. The final score, 47-20. He makes it all the way into the end zone. So just who will Gresham's opponent be next week? Well, the answer can be found in Canby, where the 9th-ranked Cougars hosted Hillsboro. This game was close at the half, but in the third, Canby's Matt Pingo took it in from 1 yard out, and the Cougs led 21-6. Hillsboro, however, closed the gap on this 3-yard run by Sean Sanford. That made it 21-17. But late in the fourth, Canby sealed the victory with Jeff Schott's interception on the tipped ball, and Canby held on to beat Hillsboro 21-17. So the scores look like this. Number 5, Grant's Pass eliminating the other PIL team, Benson, 47-12. Number 4, Lebanon over North Eugene. Gresham beat Crook County, and 9th-rated Canby eliminates Hillsboro. So the final bracket looks like this for the playoffs. Grant's Pass will face Lebanon in the next round. Gresham will face Canby. And that sets it up for next week as the playoff.
You know me, Joycey. I get carried away. I was late at the time. You really bought into it, didn't you?